CTV News with Matt Grillo.
Good evening. Quebec has a new premier. After months of campaigning, Christine Fréchette was voted in as party leader and premier designate. She takes over from François Legault. The results were announced at a CAQ convention in Drummondville. Kelly Gregg was there.
Meet Quebec's new premier. Christine Fréchette will be the second woman to take the top job, defeating Bernard Drinville 57.9% to 42.1%.
I'm glad the members gave me their confidence. I'm really proud to have been elected premier, and I will be working hard for Quebecers. We will deliver changes quite quickly.
Fréchette's speech focused on easing the financial burden on families and boosting Quebec's economy. Just minutes into the job, she didn't shy away from attacks.
Avec le Parti québécois puis le Parti libéral.
Saying with the PQ and Liberals, Quebecers are tired of the same old constitutional question and don't want to go backwards. While the party is celebrating its future, there were some mourning the past. Up until today, François Legault, who founded the party in 2011, was the only leader the CAQ ever had.
Si j'ai pris cette décision,
saying he took the decision to step down to preserve the future of the party, and at the same time acknowledging the challenge ahead.
Deux grosses machines, machine rouge, la machine bleue.
It's been a fight against the red machine, the Liberals, and the blue machine, the Parti québécois, who had power for half a century. But those challenges don't end at political opponents. Labor unions were protesting outside the convention, demanding more funding for community organizations and social services.
So far, they didn't send us any message so that we feel a serious concern about what we're here for.
Much of Fréchette's speech focused on unity, as the party now needs to come together with just months until the election.
After each race like that, each party has to face that kind of question.
The next couple of hours is to be able to reunite everyone.
We have different views, but we know that we've been able to build consensus.
Fréchette will now need to be sworn in as Quebec's 33rd premier before the National Assembly resumes on May 5th. Kelly Gregg, CTV News, Drummondville.
And to break down the day that was in Quebec politics, we are joined by political analyst Salim Idrizi. So, Salim, what should Christine Fréchette be tackling first as premier?
Well, I think first she'll have to unite her party. Matt, leadership races always leave scars, and there are clear divisions between the Fréchette and Drainville camps. So I think then she will have to meet with the clerk of the executive council and, get her initial briefings, and very quickly she'll have to appoint her new cabinet.
What does she do with that cabinet of ministers? Does she shuffle things around or keep the same people?
Oh, no, she definitely need a new cabinet, one that balances stability and renewal. Some ministers will have to be there to reassure, and some others will have to represent change heading to the next election.
Any chance you see perhaps somebody who's not a minister be promoted into cabinet? Could she go that far, you think, in terms of that renewal?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that first she will need to make some room to Drainville's supporters and indeed possibly bring in people from outside elected members to show that the CAQ can still attract talent and renew itself.
She's going to have a lot to balance, right? Including trying to make sure the party wins seats in the next election. So how much focus and effort do you think she has to place on saving the party?
I think many efforts will have to be put in place. I think the only way to keep her party alive is to prove that the CAQ's third way or third option still matters despite the polls. And, politically, she'll need to be more nationalist than the PQ on identity matters, while also positioning herself as a strong barrier against a referendum or a stronger barrier than the Liberals.
I mean, do you think saving the party should be the top priority, or does she need to prove that she can be a good premier and one that can govern properly? Where do you see that list of priorities going in the next 5 to 6 months or so?
I think she cannot save the party without aiming to win the next election. She will have to show that she's up to the job and she's able to reunite the party and be able to offer Quebecers a third way that is still relevant to them. Otherwise, the party will experience like something very difficult in the next election.
It's going to be an interesting next 6 months here in Quebec. Salim, thank you so much for doing this today.
My pleasure.
Liberal leader Charles Milliard congratulated the second female premier in the province's history, calling it the privilege of a lifetime. He says, however, that just 9,000 Quebecers chose Fréchette, and it remains to be seen what the 7 million other Quebecers will want in October.
We finally have all the leaders at their starting line for the next election campaign. So it's going to be the 5 of us. Quebecers are very adamant about seeking renewal and not seeking a referendum. So we'll make sure at the Liberal Party of Quebec that we represent both an alliance of nationalists and federalists, but also proposing new ideas for top priorities of Quebecers. So when it comes to healthcare, education, agriculture, culture, and obviously, I'm going to be the one trying to talk to all Quebecers. And I think it's been a long time since we've been trying to talk to all Quebecers in Quebec politics.
The next Quebec provincial election is on October 5th. 2 women in their 20s were injured in a violent car crash in Villeray this morning. The 27-year-old driver was arrested after fleeing the scene. Around 3:30 a.m., the driver was heading northbound on Saint Laurent Boulevard. At Crémazie, the car slammed into a tree, a post, and then a concrete wall. 2 female passengers, aged 25 and 26, were taken to hospital. The younger woman was seriously injured, but she's now in stable condition.
For the driver of the car, when police officers arrived at the scene, he flew before the police arrived, but he was quickly located by police officer near the scene. He was afterwards arrested for driving while impaired. He also had minor injuries, so he was transported also to the hospital.
Police have spoken to witnesses and will analyze footage from surveillance cameras near the scene. Protesters gathered downtown to oppose the Iran war. There were around 20 demonstrators. They want the Islamic Republic overthrown and political prisoners to be freed. But they are concerned after ceasefire talks between the U.S. and Iran ended without an agreement.
We believe war doesn't bring freedom, war doesn't bring democracy, and now with the situation the last 24 hours, which the negotiation is in a hold, this is a problem.
It's been more than 2 months since Canadian Airlines stopped bringing tourists to Cuba. The country is struggling under the U.S. oil blockade, and one local man says it's time Canadians do their part to help out. Stéphane Giroux reports.
Christian Lemire went to Cuba in December to spend time with his Cuban girlfriend. He's worried about her and the larger community he's grown attached to.
They need to find something to eat every day, to find some water, to find some all necessary for living.
Lemire discovered Cuba as a tourist destination, but now sees the country facing constant shortages since former ally Venezuela was forced to stop providing supplies. He's launched a personal online initiative to get Canadians to board a weekly charter flight from Montreal, strictly to bring money and basic supplies.
They need really us.
I asked for everybody on Facebook to just make sure they have enough people for one plane, but maybe for more than that, maybe once a week.
His initiative isn't backed by the government nor registered humanitarian groups. He says he just wants to do something, anything to help.
Bring money down there and buy some food down there because they have food. They really have food, but they don't have money for buy it. And it's more easier bringing some money to go there.
Le Maire says a network of locals will make sure that the aid money goes straight to those who need it. Canada currently advises against any trips to Cuba. The United States has signaled it could intervene militarily at any moment to topple the regime. All Le Maire wants to do is make sure nobody goes hungry during these uncertain times. Stéphane Giroux, CTV News.
CF Montreal has fired head coach Marco Donadel after an ugly start to their MLS season. Montreal lost for the 6th time in 7 games yesterday, falling 2-1 to the Philadelphia Union in their home opener at Saputo Stadium. Assistant coaches Jacopo Falanga and Lorenzo Pinzotti have also been let go. Philippe Hulafroy will replace Donadel on an interim basis. Donadel's tenure as head coach lasted just over a year. CF Montreal has a 7-20-9 record under his watch.
I don't think anyone should be surprised. Montreal have won 1. They've lost 6. It has been a struggle, to say the very least, to start the season yet again for CF Montreal. It's their 3rd manager in 3 years now. But yeah, Marco Donadel, it just was not working. I mean, you know, some of the score lines that came in, he had 2 matches where they were up a man and they somehow lost those games. The home opener yesterday, they were playing the worst team in the Eastern Conference, and that team shellacked them.
Donadel was CF Montreal's 11th head coach since the club joined MLS in 2012. CF Montreal play the New York Red Bulls at home on Saturday.
Weather brought to you by Gratianscaf. Second pair is a gift event including designer frames. A second pair free for limited time.
Let's have a look at your forecast now. It's 3 degrees in Montreal, 0 in Sherbrooke, and 1 in Quebec City. It's going to warm up tomorrow, though. We'll have a high of 14 degrees in the afternoon, but we are expecting for a good portion of the day rain. We're going to have showers, and it's going to be a rainy week next week, or this week, I should say. We're expecting showers every day leading up to next weekend. We'll have several days where the temps will be in the teens. Just ahead, Quebec has a forensic identification unit, and we meet the team working to identify human remains. It took 47 years for forensic technology to advance and find a missing Ontario woman named Pamela Harvey. It turns out the 23-year-old's remains had been in a lab in Quebec all this time, waiting to be identified. Rachel Lau explains.
This is a very specific dental feature here.
This person has been dead since at least 1998. It's Dr. Corinne Danjou's job to find out who they are.
That's where I will look at all of our missing persons in my database.
She's a forensic odontologist working to identify human remains as part of a team at Quebec's Laboratoire de Sciences Judiciaires et de Médecine Légale, or the LSJML.
Sometimes what I work with is a smiling picture.
Danjou was the one who first discovered a link between a set of remains and Pamela Harvey, who went missing on Christmas Day in 1978. Her remains had been sitting at the lab for 46 years, waiting for advances in forensics and DNA.
Back in the 1970s, we didn't even know DNA would be something at one point, right? So techniques that were used back then were not in mind of maybe someday something will happen. Small details matter.
This binder is full of missing people and unidentified remains. 304 potential matches waiting to be made.
Well, here on the left side here, this is the radiograph that were taken in postmortem, so on the deceased person.
We weren't allowed to film any real remains out of respect for the families.
See here, I see a little something like that. There's something different in the alignment of the teeth.
We're standing in the first forensics lab ever in North America. It was founded in 1914 and brings together a host of scientific expertise: toxicology, DNA, pathology, anthropology, and more. The Forensic Identification Unit was created in 2023 with the coroner's office, the SQ, and many other police forces. The goal, to identify as many Jane and John Does as possible.
And we have now 29 cases that have been identified since, which is quite a bit.
Another 7 to 9 are pending confirmation, including one Danjou says she discovered while preparing for our interview.
And I was organizing it for you, and I'm like, well, wait a second.
She admits the team will probably never identify every set of remains that comes into their lab. All the same, she says she'll never stop trying.
You know, there's cases that will remain with us much longer, but at the same time, it's you know, the purpose of doing it is giving answers to their family, and as much as it can be upsetting sometimes, or it can be sad situations, the deceased deserve all of our attention.
Even if it takes decades. Rachel Lau, CTV News.
Well, in case you missed it, Quebec drivers are already well aware it's been a bad year for potholes. Now the province's Order of Engineers says it's because Quebec doesn't have the money to maintain its roads properly and keeps building more roads than it actually needs. Angela McKenzie reports.
If it seems like our roads just keep getting worse, the Quebec Order of Engineers says that's because they are.
We need to maintain the road that we have. We need to repair the road that are broken, and we need to do urgency work as well. And we don't have enough money to do all the three.
The Order's president, Sophie Larivière-Manta, says Quebec has historically built more roads than it needs. Per capita, Quebec has 2.5 times more kilometers of paved roads than Ontario. And now all those roads are in worse shape than they should be. ETS professor Alan Carter says the problem isn't how we pave our roads or fill our potholes. The problem is overall maintenance.
You know, maintenance of the road is actually somewhat cheap. Right? And the more we wait, the more expensive it gets. So it's exponential, you know, the cost increase. And we are in the exponential part.
This graph from Quebec's Auditor General shows Quebec's projected infrastructure costs consistently fall short of what it actually invests each year. Larivière-Manta says Quebec's infrastructure plan doesn't factor in things like municipal roads or the effect of climate change.
We need to have those data, and those data need to be given to the population for them to understand the problem and the crisis that we're in.
The Order of Engineers wants the province to stop building new roads and highways and focus its spending on maintenance. Carter says one solution could be to use gravel in some parts of the province where roads are less traveled.
2026 gravel roads have nothing to do with 1950s gravel roads, right? So we can make much stronger. We can make them almost dust-free and everything with a fraction of the cost of paved roads.
Larivière-Manta believes it's time for a province-wide conversation about our infrastructure.
We cannot go forward and give those infrastructure that are in so many maintenance deficit to the next generation. We need to work on that problem right now.
And she hopes problems like this will be front and center in the next election. Angela McKenzie, CTV News.
After the break, the Habs were looking to bounce back against the New York Islanders. Highlights coming up.
Menswear provided by Ernest. Elevate your style with Ernest.
The Habs hit the ice for the second time in 2 nights. The Canadians taking on the New York Islanders on the road. After a scoreless first period, Captain Nick Suzuki nets his 29th goal, giving him 100 points on the season. He's the first Canadiens player in 40 years to reach that mark. Less than 30 seconds after that, Ivan Demidov scores on the power play to make it 2-0 Habs. And believe it or not, the Habs were not done. Alex Newhook with his 13th goal of the season. The Canadiens score 3 goals in less than a minute. The Islanders would score 1 goal in the third period. And with 15 seconds left in the game, Zachary Bolduc found the back of the net. Habs win 4-1. Well, that's it for us tonight. For the latest news, listen to the Andrew Carter Morning Show tomorrow at 5 on CJAD 800. You can always head to our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca. Have a great night and a wonderful start to your week.